The Strait of Hormuz is back in the spotlight as new questions emerge over shipping costs, maritime security, and growing global geopolitical tensions. From Trump's proposed cargo fees to fresh attacks on commercial vessels, the world's most critical oil choke point is under renewed scrutiny. To get a better understanding of what these developments could mean for global shipping, energy security, and regional stability, Dr. Wail Awad joins us on the broadcast. He is a senior international journalist and political analyst, and also former Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast, sir. Beginning with the latest developments that are coming in, Iran has mocked Trump's 20% Hormuz cargo fee proposal that Trump has made. The question is, are these tolls the new reality for Hormuz shipping when ships earlier transiting the strait did not pay a transit fee simply for passing through the Hormuz Strait?
Thank you, Samiksha. I believe you already answered it because the American president and the attack by the American and the Israelis was the consequences that led to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. And as you said rightly, it was already open. Commercial ships were traveling free. But when the war imposed on Iran, there was a blockage. And that's why exactly the president of the United States now is exposed the real intention of the United States war on Iran. It hasn't been the nuclear issue, which we all know that Washington and Tehran were discussing the issue in Geneva when they were almost reached an agreement. Even the foreign minister of Oman said it. The national security advisor of UK was the present in that meeting. But the next day, the United States launched the attack and killed the supreme leader and 168 children in the school, and even a 14 months old baby, which they have massacred during this attack, and then they continue. And now the president of the United States is exactly saying the same, that it is the Strait of Hormuz. So it is the lust for oil and energy that brought the United States to this part of the world after Venezuela and after abduction and hijacking of the president of Venezuela and his wife.
Sir, the larger question here is also, is there even any legal basis for charging compulsory tolls on ships transiting an international strait?
No, there should be no fee for that. In fact, it has been free, and in Iran and Sultanate of Oman share the maritime waters and this international passage, and that's why it was the responsibility of the two states. Though Iran was taking the major responsibility, there was no hijacking, there was no piracy, there was no fee charge. As I said, it was only after the American attack on the Strait of Hormuz on Iran, and that there is a new rule that have been issued now. And Iran now is in the process of issuing a law which will be presented to the parliament for approval. Yes. For this, for the charging of the fee or even a toll, because giving it free is not anymore easy, because it's a wartime, and the United States been using many ways of deceiving the truth of relaunching on Iran and rearming their own position in the military bases. So Iran said it's a wartime. We have to have restriction to the shipment until we get the commercial ship, get the consent from the Iranian side. What the United States was trying to maneuver, use the Strait of Hormuz through the Oman so they can avoid the Iranian, where the Iranians said no, as per the agreement signed between the US and Iran. Article 5 of those 14-point agreement clearly says that it is Iran who will monitor the 60 days and bring it to normalcy after this truce has been subjected to a full comprehensive peace deal with the United States. But the president of the United States made it very open, started this war, and now country which used to get free access to the oil, imagine 5 billion barrel a day pass through this Strait of Hormuz. President of America is saying 20% on this. So he will make how much money? $30 million a day? God help the world and the consumer, especially in Asia.
At the same time, Sir, Trump also wants reimbursement from Gulf allies. Do you think Gulf countries and the US are going to be on the same page if it happens? That is, if US does seek that reimbursement? Because even that, if that happens, do you think that guarantee regarding safety of the vessels passing through the strait is something that the US would be willing to provide to the Gulf countries?
Well, the Gulf country, in fact, never wanted the U.S. to give them escorting their ships from that part of the world because they were never under any danger, by the way. And it was the United States who created the military bases in these countries, 17 military bases in all the GCC country, for the reason that they wanted to protect the governments of each country. But what turned out to be that the Arab countries, in fact, till date, they are protecting the American rather than America is protecting them. So American bases have been targeted by Iran because America is attacking Iran from very far away, 1,000 kilometers away, and from the sky, Tomahawk missiles and all. So they are unable to come closer to the Iranian shore to have a direct confrontation. So Iran attacked the American bases. America wanted to drag the Arab countries into direct confrontation with Iran from day one. That is why they have not, even the American president, when he went for this war, he never take the consent of the Arab country not to use the military bases there. Like Spain, Spain said it to the US that you cannot use the military base, and they refused. While the Arab country told him not to use, he used it. So what does it mean? He wanted the Arab countries to pay the bill like they did for Afghanistan, like they did for Iraq invasion. America went for Iraq invasion for weapon of mass destruction. You know it, and it was weapon of mass deception. There was no Iraq weapon. And later on, they admitted that it was the oil and gas of Iraq. So now it's Iran, the third largest reservoir of oil, the second largest reservoir of gas, and the Strait of Hormuz, where 1/5 of the world trade comes from this part of the world. So therefore, the United States president is nothing but he's implementing his own agenda in this. It's becoming like a raw army that they are renting it, and to achieve the objective of the cartel billionaires of the United States to have the oil captured in this part of the world, and also to force the Arab country to pay the bill for the for American war, which is not even an Arab war.
Yes, and to add to that, Trump even named Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, as well as Kuwait among countries benefiting from American military protection. The question is, how does that even make sense when Iranian missiles have struck 2 oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz? In fact, 1 Indian crew member was killed and 6 others wounded as those missiles by the Iranian side attacked the oil tankers in the Hormuz Strait.
I don't think there are 2 issues here, Samiksha. We need to separate. Is the commercial ships which also came under the attack of the American and 3 Indian were dead, right? And the American president admitted, and he never apologized for that. I mean, Iranian attacked the ship because they're diverting from the consent of the Iranian approval first, and the Iranian shore, which they have put it.
And to add to that, Trump even named Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, as well as Kuwait among countries benefiting from American military protection. The question is, does that even make sense when Iranian missiles in the latest attack have struck 2 oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, I believe the commercial ships has nothing to do with the current scenario of the American war on Iran, because the commercial ships have to follow the instruction from the Iranian side to take the consent and pass. The unfortunate part that there are dead, they are subjected to all this kind of an attack. And previously, American also killed 3 Indian sailors and the commercial ships on the Strait of Hormuz. That's a clear indication that they are subjecting civilian into a loss from both sides. Having said that, I would say none of the Arab countries seriously wanted this war, and none of the Arab countries used to pay a fee because they share the Strait of Hormuz with Iran, like Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, and including Oman. So there was not even a fee. But the American president, he cannot do free work for anybody. There is no free lunch in the American dictionaries. There is always a cost for that. And the cost, because he made the military bases, America throughout history been saying that we are protecting the Arab countries, but they have never protected the Arab country because there was no attack on the Arab country. And when America imposed the war on the Arab countries, it was the Arab countries, in fact, on contrary to what the American president is saying, whom they are defending now and protecting the American military bases in their own territory. That's why you look at the war situation, Iran till date attacking American bases with limited loss of life for people, because they are not attacking the countries wise. They are only attacking American military bases, which they have obliterated 17 military bases of the United States there.
So just to pick up from the earlier question I asked regarding the passage of vessels and the safety, do you think even designated routes given by Iran are actually safe? Because Iran had earlier specified that only designated route is something that the vessels will have to adhere to. But the very fact that the vessels have been attacked shows that even probably the designated routes are also not safe. So the question is, one, that are these designated routes safe in the first place? And second, are US and Iran even on the same page when it comes to those safety routes through the choke point?
They are on the same page when they signed the MOU, the framework, which was clearly said that Iran will monitor and not the United States. That was very clear. But then Rubio went to the area, visited the countries, and started maneuvering and trying to reach the sort of an agreement with Oman that they can surpass Iran without it. The second part, Iran said it is already, you give the consent, we will give you the clearance. And they have not made it, they have not attacked any ship, took the clearance from the Iranian, except one which was diverting them when the American closed the fight. Remember, close the strait. You remember when they signed the agreement, there was 72 ships passed in one day. 50% of the oil requirement in the world of the 4 billion barrel a day was passed on one single day. The next day, the American attacked the commercial ship. It went down to 40. The third day went to 30, then a total blockage. It is a clear indication that the United States' wider objective is let the world suffer. You know, imagine now you have 20% of the world supply from this route. 1/5 of the supply to the world global trade comes from here with the oil. Now, it is if this ramification and spillover comes to the Bab el-Mandeb in the Red Sea, Samiksha, then you will have 12% of the trade also suffered. Then it will be 8% of the oil traveling from those part, 5 million barrel a day will be also suffering. So what the American president is doing, he is not playing the card of an America as a superpower, protecting the global peace and security. And contrary, they are the main reason for creating this chaos and the global crisis.
Well, a point taken, sir, and at this point, both sides have to come to a middle ground. With missiles already threatening commercial shipping, the bigger challenge may not even be collecting transit fees, but ensuring safe passage to the Strait of Hormuz. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and speaking to WION.